Alabama made headlines this week for the wrong reasons, as some media outlets claim the state has the lowest vaccination rate in the country. Today, our Sydney Stallworth went looking for answers from the Alabama Department of Health to hear where exactly the state stands in the vaccine rollout process.
It's being reported Alabama is lagging in vaccinations. 4 state senators just this week writing a letter saying the slow rollout will prevent the state from getting more vaccine doses in the future. We wanted to find out what was happening from the source.
But I think the challenge is really not receiving enough product. Our allocation is based upon population. Right now we're receiving about 50 to 60,000 doses per week, and keep in mind that every one of those persons has to have a second dose.
We're told the ADPH vaccination records and CDC statistics don't line up. The difference could be by as many as 40,000 to 50,000 doses.
Now, currently, the CDC dashboard is not reflecting the numbers of doses that we have already given, and there are a number of IT issues related to that we continue to work on with CDC.
ADPH State Health Officer Dr. Scott Harris says Alabama has received more than 500,000 doses to give, and so far has reported only given about 220,000 doses. The remaining shots already spoken for. Many needed to give people their second doses.
We have currently providers that have been approved through our imprint system and are ready to vaccinate, but we don't have any vaccine for the providers.
According to Dr. Harris, ADPH has 883 vaccine distributors registered. 364 have vaccines, and the next allotment of shots, 117 providers are getting doses. Alabama isn't the only state complaining about a vaccine shortage. Discussion swirls around Johnson & Johnson's potential COVID vaccine, which is a 1-dose shot.
Should the Johnson & Johnson product receive EUA, that will really be a game changer because persons will not have to return for a second dose.
A new ADPH online portal is in testing right now and expected to be introduced in a matter of days. A vaccine pre-registration feature could be added. Putting the Valley first, Sydney Stallworth, WZDX News.